on one side, we're all trying to find out what is the nature of the new communications? What is the special nature of each one of the media, such as, say, the moving picture or broadcasting? What is the nature of all of them, all of the mass media, as we call them, put together? And I think that from that, almost everybody in the field certainly isn't satisfied with deciding what is the essence. We're not Platonists. I think we all then want to say, what do all these media do to us? And then I'll put my own specialty in. What do we do about that? Now, I don't think I differ too much from you, Mr. McLuhan.
No, I've learned a great deal from your own work, Mr. Seldes, and you were in this field before any of us. And we've toiled along in your footsteps, as it were.
You and I share, however, I'm pretty sure share an enthusiasm for someone else, which is Harold Innes, the Canadian economist.
Yes.
Don't you think that he phrased the essence, really, of the revolution in, you probably know the actual words that he used, of the connection between an enormous change in the means of communication and a change following in society?
His notion that any change in handling information, communication, is bound to cause a great readjustment of all the social patterns, the educational patterns, the sources and conditions of political power, public opinion patterns will change. But he got onto that track rather interestingly. You see, as an economic historian, he had been studying railways and the cod fisheries, the fur trade, and the pulp and paper. And he moved then from staples as forms of shaping economic life to media as staples. And he began to study the new media as really basic economic resources. And much as, for example, cotton in the South has shaped a whole culture, now radio is shaping a global culture. It's global in the extent of its resource availability. So that what would appear to be in the offing is a global culture conformable to a staple like radio, as the Southern culture was conformable to cotton.
But then he went on the simple example that after print came in, the whole feudal system broke.
Yes.
Now, what I'm worried about, and he didn't live long enough to predict it even, is what is going to break? Where is the shift in power going to be at the present time?
The tremendous developments that we made in individual, private habits of study, isolated effort, inner direction, and so on, these are likely to take the rap from media that are so inclusive of the whole of society and at all levels. Think of the tremendous shift in political power that is going on at this moment through the use of television in politics. And McCarthy folded in a week after he went on television. If Huey Long had gone on the TV, he would have been a flop at once. TV will not take a sharp character, a hot character. It's a cool medium. And our politics are being cooled off to the point of rigor mortis, according to many people.
I want to do it. Why not?
The nature of this medium, which calls for so much participation, does not give you a completed package, a completed image. You have to make your image as you go. Therefore, if the person who comes in front of the TV camera is already a very complete and classifiable type of person, a politician, a highly obvious doctor type, lawyer type, the medium rejects him because there's nothing left for the audience to view or to complete. And they say, this guy's a phony. There's something wrong with this guy.
I'd like to have you react to this notion that since the founding of our country, we've had the balance of power progressively go from a very small group that were voting, and had property rights and so on, gradually spread to a larger and larger group. Now, how does television fit into this? We have practically universal television as far as it being in the homes of kids. Does this mean that the power more and more is flowing really to the popular group?
Yes, literally the participation of the whole population in the political process becomes very deep. And whereas it's no longer a question of assessing arguments, platforms, regional flashes, and so on, everybody is with it. All age groups. Yes, the issues are no longer given to you on single planes and single patterns. They're total.
But this is a very good point about being deep. Is this actually a kind of a pseudo-event? I mean, you think you are with reality, but really, you are having prepared for you on television those aspects they want you to see, which gives you a feeling of participation you may not really have.
The audience is making a new form of association among its own members. They are making a new reality,
in other words,
new art form.
You don't think we're learning more things superficially?
No.
You don't?
No, this is an age in which in the new criticism or psychology or anything else, the word used in all these forms is depth. It's
Yes, I know.
reading in depth, psychology in depth, everything now
But
is in depth.
these are the relatively few experts and outsiders.
No.
Your implication now is, it seems to be the opposite of what you were saying a few minutes ago. And I'm not trying to trap you, Marshal. I'm trying to find out. But at one point, is my understanding that the thing we need to be troubled about by these mass media is their creation of the non-individualistic person, the man who is with it, so he's with what everyone is doing, to use what is now the hackneyed word, the conforming person. On the other side, you were saying that, however, television can be used to convey information in depth, and the implication is it can actually be used to make people think.
The forms of entertainment that work best on television, whether it's Padishevsky or even the Power Show, are ones which admit of a great deal of casualness, in which people can be introduced and dialogued with in the presence of the camera at all sorts of levels of their lives. You capture them at all sorts of strange and offbeat moments of their existence. And this kind of probing and peeling off the superficial aspects of people and so on is normal to this medium. It is a depth medium. The movie medium is, by comparison, very much a photographic slick package medium, which gives you a very highly defined and a very slick, complete package.
You know, McLuhan, you might do what I've known you to do, which is to characterize the former period as the print period and the present period as the electronic period, and kind of point out what sharp distinctions you think are involved there.
I think people who are subjected to the arrangement of language visually in lines, highly sequential and precise, rigid, develop habits of arranging their lives, arranging their whole social existence, which are very closely geared to these forms. They're not specially aware of this. Lineality, though, is not characteristic of radio or television or movies. And so we have been subjected to tremendous new forces, new influences, which have broken up the older habits acquired from the print world. This is a good time, I think, to bring up a point that when any new form comes into the foreground of things, we naturally look at it through the old stereos.
Yes,
we can't help that. This is normal, and we're still trying to see how will our previous political and educational patterns persist under television. We're just trying to fit the old things into the new form instead of asking what is the new form going to do to all the assumptions we had before.